position trackers used. Like you can
Jack,
see.
I can't see
You
your
can't
screen.
see it. Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
So your game's probably full screen, and yeah, there you go.
Yeah, good call. Thank you. Right. But yes, this is from like the start of time, so it's pretty hectic. But yeah, this is like positions that or like data, position data. Yeah. And that's how it's used in the path generator. All right, next thing is science tools. So I guess I'll just start off. So there are a few science tools. Let me find it. So there's altitude, oxygen, pressure, radiation, temperature, and wind. And these are all very configurable. So you can configure them per world and per region. And so these values are actually calculated by a few things. And there's a JavaScript interpreter that's running that actually calculates it. And so this is also built in. So there's a built-in JavaScript interpreter here. So we can do like x plus or x times like 100. And this basically just takes my x value. So my x value right now, -34. Yep, lines up. You can also get like oxygen. So, I mean, we're on the moon, so the oxygen's 0. Anyway, that's kind of more so for testing. The config looks like this. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, there's like a line separating everything. It usually just looks like this without as much spacing. But so there's conversions as well. So if I do altitude, so we're like 1.7 million meters up, which is like 5.6 million feet or 1,000 miles. So that's like where these conversions are from. So this unit is feet, and it just converts from meters to feet. So it takes the value, multiplies it by some constant. The more interesting part is the actual tools. So altitude, we have this default expression, and that's just if like a world doesn't have any kind of value defined, this is the default value that's used. So it just takes your y value and maxes it with 0. So if you go below 0, it'll just be 0. Units, meters, and then these are the conversions that are defined for it.
Jack, that reminds me of, I mean, there's obviously no sea level on the moon. So what, I think we talked with Neil about that. Can you remind me of how that is actually calculated?
I think I just like Googled it. I don't remember exactly how it works, but like, yeah, you're right. There is no sea level. I forget what we get this figure from, but I think that was just like the radius maybe of the moon itself. I can't remember. I don't think we actually use altitude in the moon base. Main ones are oxygen, pressure, temperature. And so here, I'll give a quick demo. So we'll see that the pressure is 0 out here. And then this station is checking the temp or the pressure. So when we go in here, view pressure again, it's like normal pressure that is on Earth. Anyway, you can change all these with like regions. So moon, main dome, these are all different regions that are on the moon. In the future, I'm actually currently like remaking this plugin. Regions aren't name specific, they're world and name specific. So technically these are incorrect. We have to have them defined by world 2 in the future. It's kind of just a side note. I guess I could give a live demo. So I'll just add test region for oxygen and I'll make a region. So let's say, oops. Or wait. This is odd, but oxygen. So yeah, I'll add test underscore region and I'll just make it 100. So if I make test region, cool. And so let me upload this. So if I do oxygen, 100%, yep. And then if I step outside the region, it's 0. Yeah. All right, so that's science tools. Oh, never mind. There's a validate part. So this is the part that we're actually using in like these little computers. So the whole point was that they have like these tools, like /oxygen, /pressure and stuff, but we want them to be able to tell us that they looked at these values. So this example here with pressure, there's this data entry computer and they right click it and they're prompted with this little like prompt, or, they have this little prompt. So data entry computer, current pressure unknown. So please find the pressure that you just measured. This is kind of assuming that they already went inside and found the pressure. So I guess I can't remember what it is offhand, but I'll just go back in here. So I do pressure, it's 101.3 kilopascals. So I can just type 101.3 and it automatically grabs number values out of what I typed. So yeah, value updated, current pressure 101.3 kilopascals. And then, so this is also tied with like quests that we have in. And you can manually have people validate a tool. So if you run science tools validate tool player, that grabs the science tool value at the player's current location and then just checks against that. And then if you give a world and then specific coordinates, that will grab the value at those coordinates. So this like info head is tied with like the location down here. So when it types like science tools validate, it validates pressure with like whoever clicked it, and then it does moon base and then an XYZ that's within this region. Because if we didn't do that, if I click this and type 0, it would say it was correct because there's no pressure out here. I think that's mostly it though. Does anyone have any questions about that? Or is anything unclear? So mostly it.
Jack, so don't answer this necessarily, but like don't do it. One of the things I was thinking as a first edition demo is that when we're going to go into the backside at some point, like we'll get these things in Eclipse. But I don't think it's necessary. If you wanted to add atmosphere, which is one of the ones that I wanted to do in there, is that like a thing where you could just add it as a variable, or is that a thing where we have to modify the code?
So at least with atmosphere, that would be a lot more involved. One of the things that I added was radiation semi-recently. And that was pretty easy since it's just a numerical value. Any kind of tool that really just maps to a number is pretty easy to add. But when we look at like atmospheric composition, like when we want to list like different kind of elements, that won't be so easy. Just because it's a different kind of like calculation. That would be something that could be added to the plugin, but would kind of be its own thing. Because I think that would be kind of per world and would kind of have to be hard coded in.